We ready?
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
I'm Chip.
I'm William.
Crystal.
I'm Justine.
And we are the Ghostly Wolf Investigation Team.
So why did you become a paranormal investigator?
Well, we've all had similar experiences throughout our lives, and we decided to bring them all together to show the non-believers that there is something beyond life, and trying to prove it.
Yeah, you could, it's one thing to say it, that you're a believer, that you've had experience, it's another thing to actually be able to prove it. Like the equipment you see on the table here, we've caught hundreds and hundreds of different experiences, orbs, voices, shadow figures, and hopefully this will start showing the world, yeah, there is something else out there other than just the physical appearance of an everyday person. Alright, next question.
What is the most haunted location you have investigated in?
Mm-hmm. Together, that would actually have to be your mom's house.
Yes, up to date, so far, your mom's house, hands down.
There's countless numbers of orbs that we have captured on video.
And voices.
Thermal and night vision.
And
voices.
EVPs.
It's just crazy.
This is a over 100-year-old location as well, so. Alright. What is the most haunted place you've ever been to?
Ooh.
The graveyard.
The graveyard here in Cheyenne?
No, down in Las Vegas.
I think the most haunted location I've ever been to was an old abandoned sawmill just outside of Zavella, Texas. That place was weird. I'm sorry, Deep East Texas in August, it's like 110 in the shade. I'm still seeing my breath form like fog in front of me. And yeah, that's creepy.
What about you, Crystal?
I'd have to say there was a place when I was married to my ex-husband that we lived on Evans that had connections to the tunnels in the basement. We would hear in the vacant apartment below us screams in the middle of the night. I'd have to say that's the craziest location I've been to personally.
Me? My mom's house. I hated growing up there and being there by myself, so. And my friends hated going into my bedroom because they always thought something.
Well, we caught that something. We caught many of somethings.
Right?
Yes.
What is your favorite piece of equipment and why?
Mine, hands down, the thermal. The thermal, the night vision specs of it is, we've caught so much phenomenal stuff on it. It's got a really good recorder in it as well for voices. It's the best equipment we've bought so far. It's gotten us the most evidence. It runs the longest, no matter what card is in there. It always has the more recording time than anything else on the table, except for this thing, the night vision
Surveillance.
surveillance. Thank you. I just kept wanting to say tablet.
My favorite piece would have to be the spirit box, hands down, because you can actually hear it with your own ears, not having to go back through it, what the spirits are trying to tell you.
Mine has to be the spirit box too, for the same reason. It's like talking to the ghost in real time.
A whole phone a friend kind of thing.
I'd have to agree. I just kind of wish we had it when we were at my mom's house.
too.
Because that would have been really cool.
That's what happens when you start new. You have very limited equipment, and then income tax money and then extra money hits. You're like, yes, we can afford good stuff now.
Right?
Alright. Where do you want to investigate the most, and why?
Pavalia Island
Papalia Island.
in Italy.
Oh yes.
The island created out of nothing but human ash.
That would be sweet.
The island was used for the
Burning.
bubonic plague victims. They would burn them there. It's two islands connected by a couple of little bridges. Channel. And they would take them to the other side of the island from the hospital and burn them. And the whole place is about that deep in human ash all the way across the island.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to Bob Mackey's.
Have fun with that.
Have fun, dude.
I'll probably be doing it by myself.
Yeah. You'll,
Mine would be where my great grandfather used to stay.
what was that?
The Whipple House.
The Whipple House.
Ooh, that's
Yes.
gonna be a good one.
I'm praying that we can get in there and investigate. If not, we'll at least be able to go through and look through stuff like that. So, but that would be cool because I know my great grandfather's there. Okay. Do you charge for your investigations?
No.
We are a non-profit organization. It's a privilege for us to come and investigate the paranormal.
But we do accept donations if you do feel the need to. Just randomly, like, hey, we think you did good. Here's $1. Because you know batteries aren't cheap.
We go through a lot.
Yeah, and equipment isn't cheap.
Especially maintaining like our laptop computers, like all the software maintenance. That does get somewhat expensive. But we're still free no matter what. Just being able to get in there and letting us in there and hunt, we're like, thank you.
It's like a
Best
kid on
tunnels of
Christmas
the
morning.
Kid on Christmas morning in a candy store. Don't forget the candy store.
Yeah, it is a privilege. All right. What is the best way to collect evidence?
Provoke.
Provocation. Not recommended.
Yeah, very
so you know.
not recommended. Mm-mm.
I'm pretty much the provoker. Not recommended. You get lots of harmful backlash.
Oh yeah.
Not recommended.
If you watch any of our YouTube videos, watch the very first one we ever uploaded. Watch her provoke, and then listen to what gets told to her as she provokes. It gives you a good explanation of what she's saying about whiplash and backlash and all the extra side effects.
Not only can it be verbal, but they can turn to physical.
Mm-hmm. I've actually seen a physical one done before. My grandma got mad once because we always assumed her house was haunted because, you know, stuff would randomly go disappearing and then like reappear in another house. She started screaming, "Who is moving all my glasses and stuff?" It was always the glasses. One time it got thrown across the house after she found it and like put it back in the sink. It just got thrown at her from the kitchen. And I was 7, 8. And I never went back to my grandma's house again for like 2 years.
That would be scary.
And it was one of those big old, thick glass
Mugs.
No, it's about that tall. It wasn't. It didn't have the handle, so it wasn't a mug.
Goblet.
I would go with the goblet.
All right. What is the most compelling evidence you have collected thus far?
That's a good question.
In my opinion, it was when we were doing my sister's house because we got bored one day and just kicked her out of her house. And on the thermal, we left it running by itself in the bathroom, and there was a little voice sounding like a child no more than 9 years old saying, "Let me in, Mommy." Class A, you can't miss it. Voice.
Yeah, it's most definitely like one of the best. My best one, I think, is the best one we've captured. It has to be the gigantic strobing orbs that was just dancing in and out of the frame when y'all were doing your EVP at Justine's mom's house. Those things are definite. They're there, and also when they started cussing at you when you provoked, that has to be the most compelling piece we've ever captured. Then again, the little kid going, let me in, Mommy, was pretty good too.
Yeah.
All the evidence we get is pretty good.
Yeah, I think the evident, like the orbs that were going in and out of my mom's game room.
That one was
That's
good
where
too.
a lot of the,
Looked like they were rushing the cameras.
yeah.
And then when you went in there and sat down, they looked like they were sitting down next to you.
Or the ones that were around her hubby in those pictures.
Mm-hmm.
That one was kind of good too.
Okay. Alright, how long have you been a paranormal investigator team?
2 months now that we've actually been doing this kind of professionally.
Yeah.
But we've been doing
Before
it solo
we've been-
all our lives.
Together, it all started here.
Mm-hmm.
When
messing
we
around.
bought, well, he bought
That little guy.
this little guy, and it just
Blew up.
blew up from there.
When we first caught the first little kid like running up and down the stairs when there was nobody here, this $35 investment has now become a $2,600 investment.
And it's all worth it.
And all in about a 2-month span that we've been doing it professionally. But like I said, off and on our whole lives individually.
Yeah.
What was the first place you have investigated as a team?
Your mama's house.
I think
Your
we
mom's
covered
house.
that, yeah, my mom's house.
No, that was the what's the most active place? That was your mom's house. That was the question.
Yeah. Unless you want to count here when we were just messing around.
That was weird when the glass started chiming on the fridge for no reason.
And then they suddenly started getting closer to the edge of the refrigerator.
And almost fell off, which would have been on my head.
Yeah.
What are some ways you and your team protect themselves from harmful spirits?
Crystals.
White sage,
White sage and crystals.
especially blessings, especially if you have your own handmade items like a handcrafted necklace, a handmade necklace, pretty much anything you can bless as long as it has a close personal tie to you, it's even better. Like, I love white crystals. I have white crystals throughout my entire house. I have broomsticks over each door, almost every window in my house, to make sure nothing comes into that I don't want.
What different types of equipment do you use?
Well,
So what is all this?
The thermal.
This is the thermal. It can go from infrared to night vision to regular normal.
and it also has all spectrum as well.
That's all spectrum. They call it ninja mode.
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 or 4 different digital cameras. And then we have the spirit box right here.
With
The
its own
speaker that
speaker.
goes with it. We have
Three
3
different
different
recorders.
recorders. And our most expensive piece of equipment thus far, well, laptop is a given, is the night vision surveillance system.
It's proven itself quite useful many times.
Definitely worth the $200 we paid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And there's more to come.
Oh, a lot
Stay
more to
tuned.
come. Stay tuned, guys.
How long do you spend in a certain location while investigating?
It all depends how long they give us. We would like to do a full lockdown at night for
Dusk till dawn.
12 hours. We
But-
haven't done that yet, but 3 or 4 hours is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 or 4 hours is usually the most we ever get. But in 3 or 4 hours, like what we did at your mom's house, we were there for what, 4 hours? And we caught 6 pages worth of evidence that only 1 or 2 things out of 6 pages was able to be debunked. That's still pretty good for only a 4-hour investigation.
Yeah, it took us over a week to
Get
analyze
everything fully
everything.
analyzed. I would come home from work and just go straight to the computer and start analyzing every night for like a week. It's horrible. I don't want to look at this computer again.
But way worth it.
But way worth it.
Findings are always the best. Have you ever seen anything physical, like movement, on your investigation?
Actually, yes, we have.
Yes. And her sister's place on the thermal
Mhm.
in the bathroom.
And also Justine's mom's house as well, with the crystals hanging off the drapes of the bed.
Those
Excuse me.
moved by themselves.
And also had heat reflecting off of it when y'all weren't even in the room.
Not to mention, when we were investigating your mom's house, we had the, was it the thermal?
I want to
Up
say
in
it
the
was the
crawl
phone.
space?
No, it was
No,
not.
it was
No,
the
yeah,
the
camera.
camera.
And it actually moved 45 degrees to the left.
And also at your sister's house as well, when one of these cameras just all of a sudden we're having it face the bedroom door. It was like looking out the window all of a sudden.
Yeah, for no
For
reason.
no reason.
Nobody was in the room. Nobody was anywhere near it.
We were all in the living room getting ready to start placing
Spirit
people, and we're spirit boxing. And then it was just all of a sudden it was facing the door, and then it was facing the wall. That was weird.
Well, not to mention we were here, and you saw on there that the door opened and shut.
Oh yeah. The door opened, cracked open about that far, and then just slowly shut. Unfortunately, I didn't have it recording at the time, but
Then during
We all
Christmas,
watched it.
when we went over to my parents, and we left a voice recorder on the table, there was somebody running up the stairs, and said, "Anyone home?" And another voice says, "Yes."
that one was a good one too.
Yes, it was.
Wish I would have been there for that one.
Right.
Each and every one of you, before we became a team, how long have you been wanting to be an investigator?
Since I was knee-high to a grasshopper.
So me had to piss me forever.
I've always been interested in it, and ever since Ghost Adventures came out,
Yeah, the good one, Ghost
is
Adventures.
the good Ghost Adventures. Zach, Aaron, and Nick, they pretty much inspired me to, I want a paranormal investigation team. I just didn't know anybody crazy enough to do it with me.
Till you met me.
Yes.
I remember my first experience when I was like 5 years old, made me want to go out and hunt it professionally. I was living, I can't remember where I was at the time, but we were living not too far from the cemetery. An 80-year-old woman would come talk to me at the foot of my bed every night. The whole time we lived there about a year, and she would come talk to me almost every night for a year. And I was 5, 6 at the most. And I was like, wow, something else out there is other than just physical. And just made me curious what's really out there after that. And then I saw Ghost Adventures. I started watching Ghost Hunters first, but then Ghost Adventures came out, and it was a little bit more in-depth for me. I was like, this is interesting. Then I started reading up online. I found a few friends of mine in my hometown that did it, and they took me out on a few. And I was like, yay.
What about you, Chip?
Ever since I was a little kid. Ever since I found out my twin died. Just want to find them. And I've been looking ever since.
We need to go back to your hometown.
We live in it.
Oh,
This is
oh
where
yeah.
I was born.
I always thought you were from Vegas.
No.
No, I just lived there for 12 years.
Okay, I always thought you. I don't know why. I've always thought you were from Vegas.
I've had a lot of stuff happen, especially at my mom's house, but I've lived there pretty much my whole life. You go upstairs and you just want to run.
Yeah,
upstairs
every time I'd
or
walk up those
downstairs.
stairs, the hair on the back of my
You
neck
just
would
feel
just stand
somebody-
up. Like someone was like right
Someone's
here
right
Just
looking.
there.
that one staircase.
On my side,
Mhm.
in my old bedroom.
Like someone standing like right behind you, like breathing down your
and it's
neck.
not like
It's not friendly.
it's not friendly. It's scary.
It was not. I could tell it did not want me anywhere near that side of the house. That's why I always walked up it anyways.
Yeah.
Kind of a in your face.
Yeah. Ha ha, I'm gonna be here anyways, whether you like it or not. And ever since
Not a good idea. This is a disclaimer. Not a good idea.
Yeah.
I will have to put a
provoke, they
very big
cuss at you.
disclaimer on this entire video.
And then I had two really close friends when I was younger, murdered on the west side, and always thought about them and wondered if, how they were and stuff afterwards. So, what are some of your pre-investigation rituals done as a team?
Well,
we're dorks.
we're really big dorks.
We played
White
Right.
Wolf.
White Wolf.
A lot of World of Darkness games. So, look at the
We
games we
love
play and look at what we do for fun.
No, we're not weird at all.
No, we're not weird.
Sounds a little weird.
We do. I like to listen to a lot of music before an investigation. Like the day before, I'll plug in a pair of these headphones and just go at it for hours, just listening to like Linkin Park and Korn and Disturbed and Rob Zombie and Nickelback and all my favorite bands that I know will keep me level-headed.
I sleep.
Yeah, you're the weird one of the group.
How about you, Crystal?
I pretty much just meditate.
Meditate's a good thing.
I think that's what I do when I listen to music, is I just completely zone out. The house could be on fire and I wouldn't know about it.
You?
I think breathe.
Don't you do that anyway?
But I do extra breathing. I'm like, okay, I'm about ready to do this.
Hopefully something doesn't scare me to the point where I run away pee my pants.
Or hopefully something does.
Yeah. There's that old
And then
saying.
I learn to stop saying knock.
Yeah, if I have to hear you say knock one more
After getting
time.
punched at work.
Yeah, I had to punch you to get you to stop.
Oh, okay. Okay. For the last question, do you analyze evidence as a group or by yourselves, and how long does it usually take?
Yes, do both.
Well, we.
We start out individually.
Mhm.
He usually starts it because he has all the equipment with him.
I'm
he
the tech
hogs
guy.
it. He's our tech guy. And then he tells us what he thinks something is, and then we go through and do our timestamps as a group. And it usually only takes about a day,
Day and a half.
depending on...
Yeah, it depends on how much we catch too. If we like at your mom's house, we caught 6 pages worth of stuff, which took us a week to get everything fully analyzed. To this is there. Okay, this is debunked. What was that?
My sister's house only took
A
about half
day.
a day. Yeah, not very long at all.
So I'm guessing it's probably how long the investigations are.
Usually.
We were there about the same time.
Yeah.
3 hours for yours and 3 hours at my sister's.
So I guess it all depends on how haunted.
Mhm.
Or how big the place is.
How haunted it is, how big the place
Your
is.
mom's house was...
And then the research to go along with the location, that's the longest part, to be honest with you, because you have to dig through so many pieces of technology on the computer to get to what you're looking for. Like whenever we found information about the lady and the family group that died at her sister's house location, it took my mom almost 3 days to find that. And that's sitting there at the computer for 3 hours a day doing nothing but
Because
typing.
those deaths happened in the 1800s.
The death of the family that the only one that we can find documented proof at that location happened in 1918. And how long it usually takes, yeah, it just all depends on the location, honestly. It could be anywhere between a half a day to a month, just depending on how much stuff we capture while we're there.
What other, off the top of my head, what other places are we going to be investigating?
Well, this upcoming Friday we have the train depot, downtown Cheyenne. We are working on getting into the Atlas Theater, the Plains Hotel, and the Lincoln Library. Sorry, not library, but the Lincoln Movie Theater. And we're also, Crystal has brought it to my attention, she's possibly able to get us into the museum downtown as well, across the street from the state buildings.
What I also want to do is try to get into the Molly Brown house down in Denver, Colorado.
I want to go to the Rollins Penitentiary, the Rollins Prison. That would be a great one to go to.
So it's all depending on who's willing to let us come and investigate and who's not. Lots of phone calls.
Lots and lots of phone calls and emails, and a lot of footwork. Because you could do so much more actually going up and talking to people than you can calling them on the phone. It's the interactions that you get when you go to any location, especially when you're doing the walkthrough and getting all the hot spots kind of pinned down. This is where we want to set this up, kind of thing. It's just the people you meet will actually be more willing to talk to you face to face than they will over the phone.
You kind of brush it off on
Kinda
the
like-
phone
kinda
more
like-
than anything.
Don't want to talk to you. Then when you get there, you're like, oh hey, so you're the person I was talking to on the phone. Hi, how are you? And then you just go from there. I'm like the people person of the group. Like no one here really else wants to talk to the living. I'm like, I want to talk to the living as well as the dead.
Okay, well, I think that wraps it up.
Thank you for watching the Q&A panel for questions that we've gathered off of Facebook and other members of our Facebook page and family. Anything else, guys, we want to add to this before we stop the recording?
Happy hunting.
Happy hunting, guys!